ancient Neph Israel, whatever you want to call me. Just don't call me late for dinner. Okay, the topic we're going to talk about right now is an awakening. A lot of people going through awakenings right now. It could be any type of awakening. It could be awakening into like spirituality, awakening to the name of the Most High, awakening to certain people in your life, awakening to who you really are as a person. It's a lot of that going on right now. So, we living in the day and the time of the awakening, and that's what it's about. It's about so many different things, spiritual warfare, and that's one of the main topics. I ain't even gonna lie, like one of the main topics when you speaking about awakening, it's kind of under that umbrella. And it's a lot of spiritual awakening going on right now. We living in that time, so a lot of people are awakening to things that they wasn't conscious about. And it doesn't matter what type of awakening it is. It's all about who you are and where you at on your walk of life. Everybody's awakening is different. Nobody has a set way to awaken. Some people, they go through their whole life and then they awaken when they're in their 70s, in their 80s. So, this is that time, and it's also that time. The Bible don't specifically say the young will teach the old, but there are prophets that were younger and showed older people ways of being, and that's the meaning, that the young will teach the old, because you got a lot of old souls that's living in young bodies. And you got a lot of that going on. And the church and religion, they don't teach about spirituality and the spirit and the soul. Usually they they preach about the Most High and the spirit and all that crazy stuff. But they don't teach about the Most High and the spirit. And that's what make it crazy, because that's how they teaching it. So, spiritual warfare, like, a lot of people going through that. Narcissism is a form of spiritual warfare, because narcissism to us is considered demonic activity. Like a person that's dealing with narcissism, and a lot of people don't even know what narcissism is. They throw that word around so loosely. Like, oh, it's just somebody who has this grandiose personality, somebody who think they better than people, and blah, 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 blah. And no, it's much deeper than that. That is such a surface level, to the point to where that trait is normal sometimes. Everybody has some form of a narcissistic trait, and that's just a trait. And anybody can have a grandiose idea about themselves or about how they do things. And there's a pro and a con to it. Is it healthy or is it unhealthy? So you can't just say, oh, that person think they better than everybody else, so they're a narcissist. No, it doesn't work like that. Narcissism is demonic activity. Narcissism is when somebody deliberately hurts you and then blame you for it. Narcissism is when somebody deliberately do something and try to make you believe that what has been done to you didn't happen to you. It's evil, and they will turn and switch around situations and have the innocent person looking like the abuser. And that's what narcissism is. Narcissism will have somebody questioning their whole reality, even though they saw that the ball was blue. But the narcissist will make them believe that the ball was red, and the person will say the ball is red, clearly looking at a blue ball. That is demonic activity. That is evil. So That's attached to the Jezebel spirit, the incubus spirit, the succubus spirit. That's all attached to the same thing. And these spirits can be tied to anybody. People in church, people in your home, people in your family, people you dated, people you married. These type of entities are spirits. They are not tied to somebody because of the type of zodiac sign that they have or how they look, or just because they feel like they look good every day of the week. So you have to understand that narcissism is more than just somebody who think they look good every day of the week. Narcissism is an evil way of destroying somebody's mind, soul, spirit, and it's demonic. So while we living in this time and this awakening, a lot of that is happening to people, places, and everywhere. It's happening to kids, old people, people on their job, everywhere, in relationships, everywhere. So, like, you have to be careful when you're dealing with certain people and people when they say they spiritual, because you got people who are narcissists and then they go and they practice spirituality to hurt people. And we call them people witches and warlocks. And usually 9 times out of 10, when those people come across earth angels, prophets, and things like that, they try to convince other people that the prophet or the earth angel, the light worker, or the person that's sent by the Most High is the actual narcissist, or is the actual person that's doing witchcraft. So if somebody is literally saying, oh, that person do witchcraft, you don't know that person, they don't know that person, you need to check that person. Because 9 times out of 10, that's the person that's doing the witchcraft. In this day and awakening, you have to pay attention, because the demonic activity within people it exposes itself. You just have to know what to look for. And different type of spiritual people will show you these things. You just have to know what to look for. And in order to be able to tell if you're dealing with somebody that's narcissistic, let somebody else come around that love themselves, that's positive, that put a lot of work into themselves in order to give back to other people. See how they respond to that person. Do they love that person because of the way that they love themselves and other people? Or do they hate that person because of the way that they are to themselves and other people? If they start off the conversation with she thinks she, he think he, you're dealing with somebody that's vibrating on a low energy. So there's good and there's bad spiritual practices. And a bad spiritual practice is like gossip. A lot of people don't know that gossip is witchcraft. So you have to be real careful about how you speak and talk about people, because a lot of people aren't regular people. A lot of people are sent with a purpose. And then when you're committing spiritual murder on their character, that it creates like a bell in the spiritual realm, in the ethers, where the Most High is. And it's offensive to him, because he's putting these people here for a purpose, and you're spiritually murdering them, which goes against spiritual laws. So you got to be careful. So a good spiritual practice would be something I would do. If somebody is adamantly coming against me and they have no reason, I don't go to a witch or a warlock. I pray. And then I go to the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms is a whole armory of ways that you can protect yourself against evil and evil people. And when you go to the book of Psalms, instead of a warlock or a witch, you're turning to the Most High and not a witch or a warlock. And trust me, you gain favor when you listen to the Most High. And then when people are coming up against you, when you go to the Most High, your favor is what bring upon their karma fast. And my spiritual practice is going to the book of Psalms. I don't have to go to no voodoo lady or voodoo man to seek revenge on anybody who hurt me. Vengeance is the Most High. I just have to go to him and repent and explain to him what is happening to me, and then remind him with his own word out of the book of Psalms. And when he's reminded with his own words, when she's reminded of her own words, the universe act accordingly. Yud Hey, Wav Hey, the universe, that's the name of the universe, acts accordingly. And what I don't do is I do not depend on a God, which is another person, to fight my battles. I do that by myself. I don't need no God to fight my battles, especially spiritual battles. My own awakening happened when I didn't know who I was. People were attacking me, and I can say they were the ones that forced my awakening. If they would have left me alone, I'd probably still be a dead woman walking. And that's a metaphor. And my awakening has affected me in many ways. I've lost a lot of people. I've lost people who called themselves my friends. I've lost people who called themselves my family. And they were never friends and they were never family. Because when shit get real, real people don't run. And shit got real. And everybody ran. So that's how it affected me. Isolation brought me closer to the Most High. Isolation was forced upon me when I was forced into jail for like 8 years straight. From the age of 20 to the age of 28. I just kept going to jail. And the more they kept throwing me in jail, trying to send me to prison, because I learned about the Most High, the closer I got to him. So I can say they forced me to turn to the Most High. Like literally. So they say a man become one with the Most High in his cell. Well, you know where I'm going with this. I ain't got to explain. People around me create problems for me out of jealousy. That's the only thing I can tell you. The most honest truth. People start problems with me behind my back out of pure jealousy. And manipulators, they like to manipulate situations to make me appear crazy. And that's a part of the awakening. That's a part of the spiritual warfare. Witches and warlocks, they use the awakening to detour people away from the truth. Now, let me give you an example. Witches and warlocks, they love to go to church. They love to sit around church people and endure churchly things. Because witches and warlocks, they like things that make them look good on the outside. They are very carnal and earthly people. They have nothing really to do with the spiritual realm. So the entities that they work with are lower vibrational entities. And what they do, like I said earlier, they will detour a person away from a true prophet and say that they are false prophets and use people's awakening against them. Now, a part of awakening is you might go through some karma, because in order to clear your debt with the universe, when you awaken, you have to clear your karmic debt with the universe. So you start getting like, things start happening to you, and you start going through certain things, and the universe is teaching you certain things as you're going through certain things. And yeah, I mean, it's like, it feels like a curse at first, but it's not a curse. You're going through a cleansing of your bloodline. Everything that your bloodline and you have done in this lifetime, and even your ancestors, is being cleansed through you. So you have to go through your karmic debt and your dark night of the soul in order to see the Most High, because you have to make your heart pure. The pure in heart sees God, the Most High, the Creator. I don't like calling him and her God. I like calling the Most High by the name YHWH. In order to see the consciousness of YHWH, you have to have a pure heart. So children, babies, and old people usually see the Most High throughout their life. Like once old people get old, you know what I'm saying, and their heart become pure. A lot of people get old and their heart's not pure, and earth angels and stuff like that. A lot of them people see the Most High. So what witches and warlocks will do when you're going through your awakening, they will tell you you're cursed. That person is cursing you. You need to stay away from that person because bad things are happening to you. And that's God trying to tell you to stay away from that person. And that's not how the universe works. That's not how the Most High works. There is karmic debt to be served to you once you start to wake up, because you have been living dead and you have to pay for being dead. And your karmic debt comes with you waking up. It's called the dark night of the soul. And witches and warlocks will use that against you and demonize you and make you feel like you're wrong for turning against the church and going towards your spiritual journey and your spiritual path. So be careful with that. Don't let them fool you. And awakening feels like a curse. It feels like you're going through a curse, but it's not. A curse from the Most High is different from an awakening. A real curse is when everything you touch fall apart. New things you touch fall apart. People get sick when you come around them. Destruction is everywhere around you. That's a curse from the Most High. An awakening is everything that used to be comfortable for you falls apart. Everything that used to be comfortable don't feel comfortable no more. That's an awakening. And that can sometimes feel like a curse. And if you have a witch or a warlock around you, they will confuse you and tell you that you're cursed when your comfortability is just being shaken up by the Most High in the universe. So you have to come to an understanding. When you start to learn about Yahweh, YHWH, YHWH, the universe himself, the universe herself, your comfortable life will start to change. And if you are around the wrong people, they will tell you you are being cursed. But if you are alone or you are around the right people, they will still steer you the right way. But if you are alone and you process this stuff by yourself, the universe will guide you. You just have to pay attention to the signs. If you catching the clock at 111, if you catching the clock at 111, if you catching the clock at 1212, 1010, 555, 444, 333, 222, that is the universe telling you that you are aligning with it. It shows you these signs because the signs are alignment. And whenever you see these signs, go to Google and Google what these numbers mean. 1212 angel number, 1010 angel number. You know what I'm saying? Like 555 angel number. When you read what these what these numbers mean, those are the angels and the universe trying to communicate with you, letting you know you are on the right path, because nobody in church will tell you this. Nobody, they are not ordained to tell you this. They are not allowed to tell you this. They probably don't even know this. They are only allowed to tell you to stay in church, pay your tithes, and be carnal and be afraid and live in fear. On a spiritual path, you do not live in fear, because the universe is guiding you. So you don't have to be afraid. It will be scary. But once you realize that it's here to protect you and guide you and evolve you, you don't have to be afraid. And as far as living carnal, everything, the body, the flesh, does not matter once you start your spiritual journey. Yes, it matters what you eat. Yes, it matters what you feed your body. Yes, it matters for you to be healthy. But as far as things like living in fear and being carnal and what pants you wear and what clothes you wear and who you date and all of it, that does not matter, because you can have the same rotten soul sitting in church, same rotten soul as somebody who hurt children, the same rotten soul that commits murder with the tongue or murder with the hand. It's all the same according to the universe. But your soul is what matters to the universe, because when your energy dies and your energy is bad energy, it has to go somewhere. And the universe is ridding bad energy. And that is the new wave of consciousness. That is the new world. That is the new earth. Nothing wicked, nothing bad will see the kingdom of the Most High. And that's just what it is. I'm a real alien. Something ain't all the way human about me. So I'm going to just tell y'all, stay blessed. Hallelujah, Yahweh.